All right, I do have a cool question that I'm curious to ask you.
Okay.
So, how do you think fitness and nutrition, health, all of it could be made more, I guess, like customized, or do you even think that it needs to be for each person?
Oh, 1,000%. It needs to be customized and individualized. And I preach that like nonstop on social media. I'm like always knocking cookie cutter plans and generalized approaches. I just made a post today.
That's
actually.
why I asked you. That's why that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, it definitely should be individualized. And an example of this is literally I brought my employee here and she was asking me about a client prospect right before I just came to talk to you. And she's like, this client has PCOS and she's wondering about carbs and like, what's the lowest minimum you drop people to carbs? Or like, do you take away all their carbs? And I was like, no. And the minimum would be dependent on the client and like how they respond and how they do well with the carbs and what kind of carbs. So there is no cookie cutter answer or exact answer I give anyone. It has to be based on how they present, what their biofeedback is showing. It's all person dependent.
So when that's happening,
Yeah.
right? Like, so you're finding out a situation of a client. How do you learn that about them and make sure that you're in the know about where they're at, what they're getting stressed about, what they're frustrated with, right? Because I don't know your check-in process, any of that. So how do you make sure that you're able to give your clients like that sigh of relief that we all need?
Right. So definitely subjective and objective data. So we take all the weights, measurements, pictures every week. And that kind of data, we also ask, I look at their biofeedback. So I look at their hunger levels, their bowel movements. Are they going to the bathroom every day? And what does that even look like? I'm not even kidding you. On our check-ins, we have the Bristol stool chart. I want you to pick and tell me what type of poop you're having.
Oh, wow. No way. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, because if it's a 1 and you're constipated, like, we have to work on the type of fiber and more water for you. If it's a 7, like, then again, we definitely need some more soluble fiber. We need to bump up your diet. So we look at that. We look at your cycle of the month because we mostly work with females and women, so how long that is, what part of your cycle you're in. And then we get into subjective data, like what was an obstacle you had to tackle this week? How stressed are you, 1 through 10? We ask them to even compliment themselves, so we add some like good self-love in there. But we take all of this information, cravings, if they're hungry, all of that, and we're kind of like, okay, this is what this client needs at this time, or this plan is working, or it's not working, so it's a lot of info. But we do kind of like that deep dive check-in every week to see how they're feeling. And if they are stressed and burnt out, or, the scale is up a little bit, we look at their sleep habits. We look at kind of what could have made that transiently happen or where they're at in their cycle, and then base our adjustments on what they're presenting with.
That's what I love about your work. Like everything that I see you do and whenever we've talked is I can tell that you're so in it. And it's almost like you're treating it how you do the golden rule approach. Like you would want your clients to be treated how you want to be treated.
Oh, 100%. I want that deep dive. Yeah.
Like those check-ins are not common, I don't think. To find a compliment for yourself.
I don't know.
That's the first time I've heard of that.
Really?
Yeah, in a check-in.
Yeah.
Is that common?
I don't know.
Do you speak about that with other coaches or?
Not really. I think there's one other team that I know that does it because they're like a friend of mine. So It might have just been like an idea that came from there, but we've been doing it for like 3 or 4 years now. So it probably came from somewhere. But even in my business coaching, they have at the end of my check-in each week, like say something that you did well this week or like write a letter to yourself. And like, so I think it's catching on, which I think is great. But the other thing we do about our check-ins is like, which isn't common, is most times you get like a voice memo feedback, right? Like your coach is going to send you 15 minutes. Here's what I see. Here's what you should do. End of check-in for the week, right? That's not how we do things. We will go back and forth through many, 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 many questions. I rarely send a voice memo unless I need to explain something in detail. I'm asking you even more questions about what you put in your check-in form, because that's often when I discover the self-sabotage habits or the things that are like holding you back or why we weren't super successful, is by diving into it a little deeper, and then we can come up with a roadmap for the next week. So it might take a little longer, but you get a more complete process.
So how do you make sure every client's doing a check-in, or do you?
We have reminders, and we have an app that we use. We use Coach Catalyst. So we set up a check-in reminder that goes out to them the day before. We have their check-in form pop up on that day. We get notified when it's checked in. They have a definite check-in day with their coach. So it's kind of up to them to submit it, Like that's the beauty of this program. So
is it in the app?
It's in the app.
Oh, okay, so
they
their
don't-
check-in form gets sent to them in the messenger in the app.
Yeah, it's like a little thing that they click on their to-do list for the day, and then they just fill it
Okay.
out in the app.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So it's super easy. It's just, accountability is that two-way street. Like, I need you to do it.
So then you're just messaging back and forth after the check-in.
Yes, once we get
Instead
the
of
check-in.
doing like a long one video trying to cover it all, you're like, hey, let's just open dialogue.
Yep, we open dialogue it.
That's cool. That's also not common. Coming from what I've heard, that's not as common.
I don't think there's a one set approach. Like, I know many coaches who do Loom video feedback. I know others who do Zoom calls. But then on Zoom calls, you get that one-to-one feedback, right? We don't offer calls because there's just no way to fit it in per day with the amount of clients and cancellations and reschedules, and it's a mess. So we don't do calls, but I don't think the Loom provides back and forth. I don't think voice memos provide back and forth. So I like that back and forth. And then maybe at the end, we send like a in summary type of thing. Like, this is what we talked about. This is what we're going to work on. But I like to go back and forth. That's where it is.
That's cool. It's like a matter of knowing your style.
Yeah. And I make sure my coaches go back and forth as well.
So how'd you find your style? Like, what brought you into the space to begin with?
So honestly, hiring health coaches myself and seeing how they did their check-ins. And I was like, I don't like this. Like, I have more questions. Or we didn't even really dive in. Like, I just submitted this and I got a 15-minute voice memo back, which is cool. I'm getting feedback. But like, I just ended up also reading my clients' check-ins, and I'd be like, wait, what? Like, why did this happen? So I would just start asking questions more. And it just gave us so much more information than what we were getting previously that I was like, there's no way we're not going to do this. And then you listen to, I was just telling you, one of my girlfriends, Dr. Casey Jo Arvidas, does a health mindset cert. She spoke at RCS last year.
Yeah.
She's very much into the open dialogue and to digging into how someone's thinking and their behavior patterns so you can shift it. Because a lot of the times it's all mindset and behavior beliefs, right? So I think it works great.
Yeah, it definitely does. I love open dialogue too. So how do you, with that idea then, how do you ever feel like
it's closed, like it's done?
Closed, yeah, the
Yeah.
completion.
So what I like to do with mine especially is like, okay, is there anything else? Like, we go over some things and I'm like, is there anything else you want to like go over or chat about real quick this week? And so I'll do that like wrap up question and they'll be like, no, I feel pretty good. Like, in our check-in form, we have what do you have coming up for the next week so that we can also go over that in this week's check-in, like events or whatever they might be stressed about, holidays. And then I will kind of give them like, all right, so this next week we're going to work on 5K steps, increasing water a little, and like nailing fiber, right? Like, I give them their action items and then that's it. Like, I just kind of, I wrap it up like that.
That's awesome.
So
Okay.
giving them their plan.
And then with the idea of it being open-ended, right, and that approach, I guess, it's interesting because do you ever have a situation where somebody, you're not hearing from someone then all of a sudden, and then you start to worry they become like an alert list or something?
I mean, so I have like 7 OG clients who've been with me for like minimum 2 years, so they respond to me. But we have had clients in the past where you give them feedback and then they're not checking the app, they're not checking their notifications, and you're like, okay, it's been 24 hours, like I need to hear from you. Or you have, like, I batch my check-ins in the afternoon and do them all at once, and not every client's going to answer at that time. So it might drag it into the night a little, it might drag it into the next day, but depending, you're not always going to have a client who needs like super in-depth convo. Sometimes it is going to be an easy wrap-up check-in, like you're nailing it, like let's continue these macros for the next week, like questions answered and it's done. So you're not always going to have that, but there is that susceptibility of it piling into the next day or them not responding. And then if they do get on that list of high alert, I pester the shit out of my clients. I load them up. I'll do WhatsApp, which is what we usually use for communication. If they don't answer WhatsApp, I will text them. If they don't answer text, I will email. Like, I will do it all. I'll find you on Instagram. Get in your DMs.
But they probably want that from you. Like, they come to you for that because they know that you're like that.
It's really easy to quit an online coaching program, but it's like, I try to do the best that we're not to make you not quit.
Yeah. Do you find that the people that are coming to you now are all the right people, more or less?
Most of them, yes. I will say we still get, like, no matter how much you speak to, we're not a quick weight loss team. We're not, we don't do cookie cutter anything. You're not going to expect results in 12 weeks kind of thing, like abs in 12 weeks. We still get the clients who show up either from ads or like maybe a colder lead generation type of situation. And they get in the program, they love it. We literally explain it, we say it, they know the expectations, and then they get in there and they're like, I expected this. And we're like, that's not what we do. Like, that's not what this is. So we still get some, you're always going to get a couple of those. But for the most part, it's the women who like definitely are more our niche and need the kind of help we're providing. Yeah.
So what is the measures of success that you get stoked on the most? Like when you're, because if it's not just about the rapid weight loss, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not.
Yeah.
What are those things where you're just like, we're onto something? Like this is happening.
Oh, I just had it this week. One of our menopausal clients, she's 53. She literally wrote me this whole thing. She's not even my client. She's just in the program, which makes me feel even better because my coaches are doing their job, right? She's just like, this program totally saved my life. Like I was going through a divorce. I was bottomed out. I had no idea who I was anymore. I was eating like crap. Like joining your program has not only given me community, but I've taken my life back. I now am like doing strength coaching and stuff. Like now she wants to be like the hype person and get to help women. And I was like, this is it. And then other examples are like when my female clients get their periods back, because some of them don't have it, and you're like, I want those cycles back. I had a client of mine who was literally told by her OBGYN, she has PCOS, you will never be able to get off birth control and have a normal cycle. We are on over 2 years of a normal cycle off birth control. So it's just like, these things are why we do all of this. Those little, like, that's what I want. The weight loss is cool. The muscle's cool, but like those are the wins I like, is the total identity shift and your body just working so well that you don't have to worry about any of the things you were worried about before.
Oh, that's so cool.
I love it. It like makes me so happy.
Yeah, you lit up. You can tell. You're like,
I was like, I feel like I want to cry.
Well, that's when you know you're doing something real.
I'm literally tearing up because it's been like such a crazy day here anyway. Yeah.
Well, you're doing it right though, and that's what's cool. Like that's where, do you ever just realize that for yourself, that like, wow, I'm doing it the right way, like, and right for you. I mean, like your heart is proud of what you're doing.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the things that I try and do is like practice what I preach and coach and live with an integrity, right? So I realize those things, but then I get equally as frustrated of like, why are all these people who are preaching the bad things like blowing up and being so successful? Like, no. So I get a little frustrated there. I won't lie.
But that's I'm not gonna freak out.
Okay.
But that's why, I mean, we've talked about this before, and your consistency in the passion you have and the tenacity, but also just the realness, it will keep standing that test of time, where it's clear that you're there. I mean, and that's where I love the way that you have identified with your personal brand and how you are you, mm-hmm. right? Like that's cool. At least it's portrayed, right? Does it feel that way, or like where are you in that process of like feeling like you, fully being you, like, you know?
Oh no, like what you see is what you get. Like
yeah.
I hope that however I come off on Instagram is exactly the type of person I am in person. Like I'm literally filling my life on Instagram, so it's got to be the same. There's no way I have energy to
I think you do a great job. It's exactly spot on. Like I know it's you, and I love that. You do.
Thanks. I feel like it's easier that way. Like there's no double life. I don't know how people have energy to have like a persona and then.
A lot of people struggle with that though. A lot of people don't understand because they're not as comfortable being them. Like you are super comfortable being you.
I mean, I think you do a pretty good job of it as well, sir.
All right.
It's not just for Instagram. Even your plate aesthetic, it matches.
That's
it's
just
not just for Instagram.
That's just. I would be doing that. Like I'd be taking pictures of my food if I had nowhere to put the pictures. Like I'm just like, oh, here we go.
I
like,
just love to tease you on it because it's so pretty. Like I love it when you do it on your posts.
So I recently was told by Jimmy. He was like, I think you need to tone that down. He was like, I think you need to start showing people like that you can mix and match and like push your food all together. And I was like, I mean, I don't know.
But you don't do that.
No, well, I do as soon as I start eating.
Okay.
I mean, depending on the food, I don't put like my grapes in my eggs and start smashing shit together.
Well, nobody's thinking you're like eating one food at a time as you go.
I think
around
that's
the
what
plate.
Jimmy thinks.
What? That'd
Yeah.
be like psychopathy.
I think that's what I think he thinks I'm a killer. Yeah, I think he like thinks I listen to like creepy like I don't know, Baby
I can't
Einstein
wait to watch that chat.
tunes and just like eat one nibble at a time from each
Like,
little
I have
bowl.
to finish my grapes before I eat my eggs. Like,
Yeah,
sorry, that's the wrong order.
He was
but.
like, dude, just be real. And I was like, that is me. I swear. I was like, that's just what I do. But I am notorious for like, my family actually gives me a hard time because I put like, I just mash it all together and I just eat it in a whole thing.
I mean,
I like it that way.
My meal, like mine are not Instagram pretty. It's
No,
just a bowl.
the
for
one you
every
tagged
meal.
me in, I was like, God, I hate looking at this. I hated looking at that.
I'm just trying
picture.
to mess up the neurospiciness
Oh,
of
it
your
threw
brain.
me off. I was like, dude, I didn't even want to put it on my story because I was like,
You didn't have to.
I know. It was testing my willpower. I was like, dude, I'm going to get better from this. So
You're
I'm going to do
Virgo.
it. No, I'm not a Virgo. No, I'm a Scorpio.
Okay, we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, so that is super cool. So what are the pillars that you abide by that you've found that your people know you for? Like,
Yeah, so definitely like integrity and just practicing what you preach and being as authentic as, can I curse on this? I was going to say
Yeah.
authentic as fuck as
Yeah.
possible, because people need to hear the real stuff. They need to hear that not everything's easy. They need to, because you'll see a bunch of people post their transformations and you're like, okay, you bulked, but like, show me how uncomfortable you were in your clothes while bulking, because we all know it sucks. Like, we all know I'm tired. Like, I'm not doing it anymore, but last year I quit a bulk and I was like, this is the most mentally taxing process of my life. Like, this is hard compared to losing weight. And you just see people's presentations and they're like, oh, I got from here to here and this is what I did. But like, show why it's hard. Like, be more authentic. And then if you're going to tell your client to do something, you should do it too, unless it's like, not every supplement you're going to do and not every approach will work for you as work for another client. But don't do something wildly crazy that like you would never do and make your clients do it, or say that you value this, but then in real life when I meet you, you're totally different. You don't actually do that thing. So I think those are like the biggest things that I love. And then we really value, which from our check-in process now, responsiveness. Like, I don't like to wait for an answer for things. I don't really want my clients to wait forever for an answer. So while coaches and all of us have lives, obviously, and they know that, we do have open hours where we are available for communication, and you will get a response back. I say in less than an hour, but like 5 minutes, unless we're involved in something.
Wow.
Like, we're very responsive to our clients' questions, because they could be out at restaurants and like send menus. We give our coaches every Saturday off, so like they know no messages will be answered on Saturday. But I want them to just have that outlet if they're like having like a little mentee bee and want a lot of cake, and like we got to stop them from eating cake, or you're at a restaurant and want help ordering with a menu or tracking food. Like, we want to be available. I've worked with coaches where they have the 24-hour response time and it's literally 19 hours later, and I'm like, I forgot I even asked you this question. I still need the answer, but like, it would have been helpful if I had you at that time. So obviously not everything is an emergency, but I very much value like responsiveness and communication.
So how do you balance that with your life? And by that I mean make that a priority of what you're spending your time on, right? Because then I'm assuming, going into your communication with your clients is very common for you. Like, probably more common than even texting or social media.
So it used to be, as I've adapted and grown into like more of the CEO role, I have reduced my client load significantly because I cannot be there for that type of interaction like I used to be. So like I said, I have like 7 or 8 clients that are holding on. So I don't have as much of that anymore. But my coaches obviously do, and we do keep our rosters. When I say the number, it's not going to sound small, but compared to other teams that have like 80 to 100 client rosters, like we cap ours at 50. So they do have enough time. Our check-in process is efficient regardless.
Fun.
Hey, efficient.
Oh, this is great. What's up?
He's going to come. So I do prioritize, like that's why we keep all client communication through WhatsApp. So if I do get a WhatsApp notification, I know it's a client. If I get a text, like I don't have to respond as quickly.
Got it.
It's all there.
Okay. So you're not overseeing necessarily in the sense of like, you're not messaging your coach's clients. Like
No, that's
got
there.
it.
I don't want to like micromanage. Like
Cool.
that's your thing. You know the way we do things. Like I trust you to be a good coach and handle your clients. If I hear otherwise, maybe I'll chime in, or they ask me for help. But no, there's no way.
So how long have you been taking on the CEO role and having coaches work with you?
A little over 3 years.
Wow. That's
Ever
amazing.
since I quit pharmacy. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
And how's that been?
Oh, I'm never going back to pharmacy.
Yeah.
But, employees has its ups and downs. It's got its, I've never like managed people before, or been in charge of hiring and firing. So it's like a learning process. And I think I sat through Sean's talk today. Is it Pastuch? I like always, okay. I was like, I think I get his last name wrong. And he was like, your team that you hired in the beginning is not going to be the team that probably follows you forever. And it's like, that's true. The first coach I ever hired, we were such a different team back then than where we are now that it just didn't morph. So like finding your people has just been a learning process every day. Yeah.
It is wild. And have you changed too during that time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I hire a new business coach every year to kind of learn something different. I'm still doing a lot of self-development therapy. Oh my gosh, owning your own business is like a personal development journey. Wide open.
It's the biggest, huh? It's like,
so
you want to
big.
learn about yourself. Why don't you just go start a business and start trying
You're
to...
like self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs. Here you go.
Yeah. It's all of that.
Dang. Yeah.
But I think we're wired for it, right?
You have to be a little bit crazy.
You're
and
just
a
a
lot
little
of it
more
persistent.
than the little bit.
Listen, Scorpio, okay?
Just a little bit more.
I am a little bit more.
But that's what makes you great, right? Like that is you. That is what makes you you. And that's why, like that's one of the things I admire the most about you is that crazy, right? It is though, because that's I can count on that, and I know that's you.
It's a reliable crazy.
It is, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think that the best people have that. They do, because then you are truly not wavering from your heart, and that's the way we want to be as humans. But a lot of us are afraid to do that.
Yeah.
So you're very in touch with what feels right and what doesn't feel right, and that's something that a lot of people spend a lot of time, a lot of money trying to figure out.
Oh, I've spent a lot of time and money doing it. Have you ever seen that meme that's like, trust my gut, the thing can't even handle dairy? Like, it's been very hard to like lean into, is that an intuitive type of thing? Or is this like fear? Like, am I just like, is this anxiety? Like, is this the right choice, the wrong choice? Like, I kind of spoke with you about something today, and I'm even in my head like, what does this really feel like? And I can intuitively feel the answer that we spoke about, but I'm like, talking myself out of it, right? So I'm learning to like lean into that a little more. I think it's always a process, and the only way you find out the answer is trial and error, unfortunately. You just got to make a decision. It's better than no decision.
Yeah. Sometimes I think when we just let go for a second and realize where things are naturally moving towards and going, then it makes you realize, oh, that's where it's going. I didn't even realize I just needed to let go for a second.
That's true. Like
And
trying to have too hard control on the reins kind of thing.
Yeah, because obviously we like to have control of things, to be aware that things are going the way we want it to, and that's really good. But then all of a sudden it turns into the situation where we're blinded and we can't even see the fact that, oh, this has been moving in that direction the whole time, and I was trying to force it to go a different way, and it just needs and so for me it's weird because there's like this different balance between letting go for the sake of that or versus like feeling dispassionate, because I don't want to let go and not feel like I'm passionate about it, because I'm very passionate about it. So it's finding that balance.
I don't think, like, even knowing you how I do, I would never say like you're not passionate. Like, I would never say you ever lose that just because you like stand back and take a second to breathe and see where things are. I don't think you're losing your passion. I think you're just deciding where to put it, right?
Totally, yeah. And I'm pretty comfortable with being in no rush, letting things happen how they're going to happen. I think it's just a matter of, sometimes just getting back in tune with where you're personally at versus being a chameleon and adjusting to the circumstance of everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
Which I run into sometimes where I'm like, oh, that person's in a rush. I guess I'm in a rush now too. And it's like, no, dude, you're not in a rush. Like,
Yeah.
that person's in a rush and that's cool. But like, you can walk a lot. That happened last night. Like, I think it was somebody was walking super fast. And I was like, I'm not going to walk this fast with you right now.
You
I
sure
don't
wasn't
wanna
me?
walk. You were walking pretty fast on the way here, and I was like,
fast.
dude, we got to slow down. Like, I'm a slow walker.
Walk very fast. Yeah. I have
That's
one
good,
speed.
and that's great. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to go sprint. Like, if we're gonna go and, no, I know, yeah. Nope, just a fast walk will do. I'm like, no, that ain't me. But so it's interesting. It's cool to find what makes you feel grounded and just what makes you feel you, and being cool with that. Like, so I like that. I like
It takes a
finding
long
that more.
time. Yeah, it takes a long time to learn that. People will always learn that. We'll
Yeah.
still learn that, even if we're super comfortable with how we are now. We're like, find different layers later. But I think that, again, rolls into like how we show up as business owners and coaches and help other people.
Yeah.
Definitely self-development work.
I know. Yeah. That's what's exciting. Do you feel like doing what you do, like, it's as beneficial for you as it is your coaches and clients?
Totally. It's almost like a therapy lesson sometimes for myself, because I'm like, oh, I see that I do that too. And then it's like, okay, now I'm telling them advice. I should follow it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your biggest, like, your most recent aha that you had? Like, something where you're just like, oh, like, even an example like that. You were like, oh, I do that. Like, I need to work on that.
Okay, so literally before we came over here, there's a lot of things that just happened today. It's been a day. I had a client.
I came over there and I was like, there's some energy going on.
And you were
I was
not
like,
wrong.
Well, I told you, I was like, we don't have to do this.
No, I'm totally fine. It's just, it was a heavy day. But because of what's going on in my life right now, like, I had a client who I mentioned something to, I said something to on Friday. And since it is a text, it didn't come off the best way. And she didn't respond to me. And I didn't even, not that I didn't notice, but I just figured, like, we had kind of wrapped up stuff by then anyway. So I kind of let it go for the weekend, hadn't heard from her again, thought everything was cool. Today in her check-in, she let me know, like, hey, this actually kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I know you didn't intend to say it this way, but this is how it came off, and I'm just, like, struggling with stuff. And I was like, ooh, okay. So I then realized, like, my stress in my life and what I'm kind of going through at the moment is rubbing off on how I am, because I have a tendency to, if I'm super overwhelmed and super stressed, which, can happen sometimes, often, because I overwhelm myself with tasks and to-dos and putting out all the things I want to put out, and I can get really short fused and like not have the greatest, couth or delivery. I can just say things super blunt to get the point across, but like when you're dealing with clients sometimes in an emotional setting, it can't be said that way. And so my intention was not that way to offend her, but it did come off that way. So I had to take a step back and be like, okay, we need to chill before we talk to clients, and before, like, we can't let that outside stuff affect how we're coaching. And it was a big reminder, like, it is affecting right now. So I need to, like, take some time to recenter, like we were kind of talking about. So we're good. We've talked it all out, but I was like, dang, like, I'm letting it slide.
That kind of reminder is nice to bring us back to the fact that we are a human,
Yeah.
and we also have our own needs that need to be filled. And it really, I mean, every time that happens, it's like a, smack in the face. But then I realize, I'm like, oh, like, everything that I'm telling my clients, like, I haven't been doing those things for myself. And so therefore I acted way out of hand.
Right.
And I didn't even mean to, but okay, now I need to do some work for me. And then I realized that helps me connect back again with my clients by letting them know. Well, they already saw it. They already
Yeah.
felt the fact. They're
You're
like,
like,
okay,
"I'm
Will's a real
sorry."
dude that gets pissed, and then he was short with me. And I'm like, yes, I'm so sorry. Like,
Yeah.
But I think there's something to that too, like, about not being perfect and letting clients see that side. Not that we should purposefully be short and blunt with our clients on check-ins,
Right.
but I think it's cool when
Yeah.
they realize, like, oh, like,
So-and-so's human
she
too.
she gets overwhelmed and stressed with work too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it sucks that they have to be the
lesson for it. Yeah.
brunt end of it or whatever. But the fact is, like, they got to see it in real time, And it's cool for the fact that that's the exact work that they're working on too. And then there's this relatability. I've actually found that bond me with my clients many times when we've had to have some serious, like, callbacks in a sense, and had to be like, when they're like, hey, well, I just wanted to be honest about how you made me feel on this. And I'm like, wow, thank you so much for telling me that. I had no clue.
That was also part of it. And I was like, I thanked her. And I was like, I just want to say, like, thank you for even letting me know and feeling
For
like
real.
good enough to express that and be honest. Because people don't like confrontation, right? So, like, bringing up that someone hurt your feelings or something is a big deal. That's a huge, like, that was a huge win. I was like, yo, this is
Not to make this about you again, but
like,
good job.
Dang, like, I'm so happy you said this.
I'm going to keep challenging you. It was a challenge.
So even that is like a win in of itself that shows you're obviously a good coach and a human if they do feel comfortable telling you that. So I think it comes with the territory sometimes. Like, we are human, and I think we also forget sometimes that the work that we do, it can be very draining. Like, all those different energies all at one time, and check-ins, and we're not therapists, but like helping people and motivating them to move forward, you really have to have a full cup for yourself to be able to do that for others constantly. So if we're not doing that, it shows up.
It shows up big time. So how have you found, like, your routine that you know you can show up to consistently for you? Because you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like, there's a ton. So how did you find that? How did you simplify fitness and health?
I mean, fitness is a non-negotiable for me. So I hired a coach to make sure I have my programming and stuff done, because I don't want to think about it. So if I have it already done and mapped out, like, I go to the gym when I need to go to. That is my me time when I do get to block out the world. Like, I turn my phone on DND. The only time I turn my phone on DND for like an hour, music's on, and I just zone out and take it for me. So I make sure to always do that. And then I do have hard boundaries for when I stop work. At night, so I can wind down. And then even in the mornings, I tend to do more of a slower morning sometimes, depending on what I have going on, instead of like breakfast, coffee, rushing to the gym and like rushing around. I don't like to rush. I'm very punctual, but I don't like to feel scattered, because then I react to the whole day. So a little bit of a slower movement.
That makes me feel really good, just knowing, okay, yeah, like, I like the D&D workout.
Yeah.
I've done that. I don't have the, I haven't made like that strict rule where like I'm doing this every time, but every time I do, I'm like, man, that was nice.
Because then I'll get coaches messaging me or clients or fire stuff happening, and I'm like, this is taking me out of my workout, I can't, and then it ruins it. So, and that's my me time for the day, so I have to do it.
Do you work out every day?
No. My training is 4 days a week right now, so 4 days I get D&D work.
Yeah, so what do you do on the off days? How do you get I don't have me time on those days.
I either have like a slower morning because I don't have to rush to the gym. So, and when I say slower morning, like, my morning routine is not like we meditate. I do journal, but I also like scroll TikTok for an hour and laugh my ass off. Like, I love my coffee and TikTok after breakfast. Plus, I'm getting content ideas and like all that stuff from it, because I'm posting on like all the different platforms. But like, I do. They're like, don't scroll social media. I love it. It's my little like funny time. So just even that hour is like me time sometimes.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, or like going for a walk. Like, I'll go outside if it's nice out, but
I feel like it's nice out often where you are.
it's been cold. I'm not really in the cold thing.
Got it.
It's colder where you live, but I'm from Florida, so.
Yeah. Does that mean we're done now? Okay, we gotta wrap it up then. Dang. Okay. Well, then we just do this clip just so that way they can follow you. We'll mash it in so I can beg. Damn. All right. So, so where can people find you for social media, website?
Yeah. Website is teambdncoaching.com. So B as in boy, D as in dog, N as in Nancy. Teambdn.com. And then coaching.com. And then Instagram is dr.dwyer. So Dr.Dwyer.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Guys.
We'll rock it.